Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Let's talk. So, you guys know that we did an assessment, kind of reviewed the AFC North champs, sleepers, dark horses. And so, if we've done the North, let's go to the polar opposite and do the South. So, today our focus will be on the AFC South, the Texans, the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars. So, let's get into it. Let's start at the top this time. The Houston Texans are absolutely the favorite to win this division again, and rightfully so. They have a young, talented quarterback. They have a really good wide receiver in Nico Collins. They added my favorite receiver in the draft in Jaden Higgins. And then they also have John Mechie and some other parts. They have a solid running back in Joe Mixon. They have a solid tight end, and they have a rebuilding offensive line, which will have some question marks. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense why they traded away Laremy Tunsil, but they did. And so they'll deal with those consequences. But on paper, they have a really nice offensive roster. And although CJ Stroud took a step back last season, it wasn't a great fall. He just wasn't as dynamic as he was the year before. And so anytime you step out and have a great rookie season, it's kind of difficult to duplicate that when you come out the next season. And so I look for him to have a solid, stable, steady year. And I look for him to be in between that 4,000 yard passing. I look for him to be around 30 to 35 touchdowns. And I look for him to quietly be an MVP candidate. But that's another conversation for another day. When you jump to the defense side of the ball for the Houston Texans, this is a defense that should be able to wreak havoc week in and week out. They have bookend edge rushers with the Danielle Hunter and the young guy in Will Anderson. They've added some pieces in the interior of that defensive line. They have average linebacking play, but with the level of pass rush that they have, having average linebacking play may not be as a deal. And in the back end, they have a lockdown number one level cornerback in Derek Stingley, which allows them to add help to the other side of that field. They've been drafting secondary talent. And so I believe that this defense from front to back will put on a above average, probably a top 10 level performance this season. And when you put that all together, there's no question why the Houston Texans should remain as the champs of this division. But when we go deeper into this division, now we're looking at teams like the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars. Let's start with the Colts, the bottom of the bottom. The Indianapolis Colts seem to be hapless right now. They went with a top 4 pick a couple of seasons ago with Anthony Richardson, and it just hasn't panned out. You know, he came into the league with a nickname AR-15, but he's more like a water pistol at this point. And that's not knocking the guy, it's knocking what has happened on the field. They have talent at the wide receiver position. They have, a big-bodied wide receiver, Michael Pittman. They have Josh Downs, and they added some other talent this year in the draft. They've had a consistent offensive line, solid run blocking, solid pass blocking. But because they have not figured out the quarterback position just yet, it kind of causes the rest of this team to be deflated. They have a talent in Jonathan Taylor, who at one point was considered to be the top 2 or 3 back in this league, but we don't know what that's going to look like this season. And so when you jump to the defense side of the ball and you consider this roster, there's no big names that kind of stand out to you anymore. I think DeForest Buckner is still there. He's still a solid player, but not the elite talent that he was in the interior from years past. They have young linebackers. They have a building secondary. But I think that the Colts are going to remain at the bottom once again. I think you're going to see the Indianapolis Colts probably have to go into the draft this next season and find their quarterback of the future, because I don't believe that Anthony Richardson is it. And, they had some turmoil this offseason with the loss of Irsay. And so this is a franchise, man, that's gone through some change. I would not be surprised if you see them sell at some point. I would not be surprised if you see them strip down this roster and begin a complete restoration. And so now let's get to the sleeper. I think the sleeper in this division is not the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I believe it is the Tennessee Titans, leaving the Jacksonville Jaguars to be the dark horse. When you think about the Tennessee Titans, they have a lot of what you need to win. They have a building and improving offensive line, which is not super expensive at this point. They have some talent in the running back room led by Tony Pollard, and you're going to see them take some steps this season in the run game. They have above average wide receivers with Burks and Calvin Ridley on the outside. I don't know what they have at tight end. I did not check their roster from several months back. And then defensively, they're really solid. I think this defense from front to back is going to put on a top 10 performance as well. I think that the edge rush group is adequate. I think the linebacking play is adequate. I think the back end play is adequate. And so it's going to rest on the position that I didn't even mention, which was the quarterback position. I think absolutely Cam Ward is the day one starter. You don't become the number one pick and then find some kind of veteran to stand in your place. The Titans have been trying to find a quarterback of the future for a couple of seasons. You know, they had Malik Willis, which didn't pan out. They had the young guy, I can't even remember his name, who had the big arm, but was always turning the ball over and getting hurt, things of that nature. But I think Cam Ward was the right pick for this team. I think he's accurate. I think he's more athletic than he's given credit for. And I think that he's going to settle the waters offensively. I think that as this offensive line has been improving, I think having a stable talent at the quarterback position will absolutely give them an opportunity to compete. Now, I called them a sleeper. Here's why. Because it's kind of the team that you are not awake on. It's kind of the team that you don't see coming. This is a good defense. And if they can establish the run and then complement it with the pass, accuracy, a lack of turnovers, things of that nature, they're going to compete with the Houston Texans. Not for the division, maybe, but you never know what happens when the lights come on. So I think the Tennessee Titans could be a sleeper with a stable quarterback position. Let's go to now the last team, which I think is the dark horse. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I called them a dark horse specifically for the division title, and here's why. I think it's put up a shut-up time for Trevor Lawrence. All of the mechanics, all of the tools, all of the talent you've seen, you've witnessed, he just has not put it all together. Kind of like another quarterback we'll talk about in the next video. But he's 6'6", 240 plus pounds. He's athletic, big time arm, can make all the throws. And the Jaguars organization have consistently tried to find him wide receiver help. And now they drafted Robinson from last season, a 6'4" wide receiver with good speed, good hands, and showed a lot of ability last season. And he looks to take another step in the 2025 season. They have had some offensive line issues. They've been recycling the left tackle position for a while. They have been trying to figure out what they're going to do at center and right tackle. And so I don't know if they have the right combination. But I do believe that if they could put all the pieces on the field, Trevor Lawrence can be healthy. I do think they have an opportunity to compete. This defense, which has been atrocious, I don't believe is as bad talent-wise as they put on the field. I think the offense has been the consistent problem. And when your offense is turning the ball over, when your offense has had trouble moving the ball, and when your offense has had a quarterback who's been hurt versus available, I think it will absolutely make the defense look worse. So I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars have an opportunity to compete. That's why I call them the dark horse. But at the end of it all, when all things shake out, I do think it's going to be the Texans that win this division. But don't be surprised if you see Tennessee or Jacksonville nearing the end of the season in contention for a playoff spot. So man, that's what I got for you for the AFC South. And until next time, I'm out.